On News Hour tonight, Unijust students fear academic disruption as lecturers push for strike. Cost of living crisis forces young Nigerians to juggle multiple jobs to survive. One confirmed dead as structure collapses in Abuja. On the foreign scene, tension rises as Mali military accuses mercenaries of undermining command. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Idris Baturi. Now, students of the University of Jos have expressed concern over a possible strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. They fear that if the union goes ahead with the action, their academic calendar will be seriously disrupted. Ado Musa completes the reports.
ASU and the federal government are expected to meet on Thursday to deliberate on the issues raised by the union. In recent press briefings, ASU stressed that the outcome of the meeting will determine the next step for the Nigeria's education sector, especially at the tertiary level. Students of the University of Jos say they are worried about the looming crisis that could once again ground academic activities.
If ASU decides to go on strike tomorrow, I feel it's going to affect our academic calendar because we're already far behind due to the previous strikes. And then adding another strike it again is not something any student in this institution will want. Well, what the ASU is asking of is not something that federal government cannot do. It's well within their jurisdiction, so they should just let it be. They should give in to their demands. It's not something that is too big or too much for them to do.
The strike is really going to cause a lot of backwardness to my studies, and seriously, I would like the government to accept whatever ASU is telling them. They should look into it because student life and student education is very important, and the strike, ASU strike, has caused a lot of setback to us, and we wouldn't like that to happen again.
Well, it's very tough because most of us are already preparing for our teaching practice that we're going to go and do, and most of us have already even started going to schools to go apply for teaching practice. And with this strike now, it will cause for us this setup, not only us the students, but even the whole university itself. All. So what I'm trying to say is that please let the federal government try to meet up with ASU's demand so that we the students can enjoy our stay in the school. And you can see that most of us now are planning after 4 years to leave this institution. So now with all this ASU strike now, we don't have any say about how we finish our university.
While the students express their fears, ASU insists that if the government fails to meet its demand, the union will have no option but to embark on strike.
So now you, the general public, can suggest to us, apart from the memos that we have written, apart from the meetings that we have held, apart from the wide consultations of all stakeholders, I think even a blind man can feel it that ASU is agitating from what happened yesterday. Okay, finally. So we want anybody who thinks that strike is not the only option to suggest to us what else can we do at this point.
Molus further explained that members of the union will comply fully with any decision taken after tomorrow's meeting.
That for us to have gotten to this point, our members must have endured a lot of hardship. Our members must have endured a lot of suffering occasioned by the denial of their due entitlements, all of which we presented at our press conference. Our 3.5 months are being held. Our promotion arrears are being held. Our arrears of 35% wage award for 1 year is being held. And the balance of our earned academic allowances are being held. So our members all over the country are not happy, and they are willing to participate in any action that the union will take.
Parents and students now await the outcome of the crucial meeting between ASU and the federal government with great anticipation. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now, the nationwide protest by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has sparked widespread reactions and concerns, particularly over the possible consequences of another industrial action. With the demonstrations, ASU members are threatening to embark on full strike if the federal government once again fails to address the lingering issues, including the renegotiated 2009 agreement. Our correspondent in Benue spoke with ASU members, students, and government representatives on the matter and now reports.
Ahead of a scheduled meeting between the Academic Staff Union of Universities and government representatives, The union is threatening an industrial action, citing what it describes as persistent neglect of its demands. According to the union, the 2009 ASU federal government renegotiated agreement has remained unattended, despite the submission of the Yayale Ahmed-led committee report in February 2025. Members also expressed dismay over the government's failure to pay 3.5 months of withheld salaries despite completed work, settle 25 to 35 arrears, clear over 4 years of delayed promotion arrears, and the continued victimization of their colleagues, address third-party deductions, and ensure sustainable funding and revitalization of public universities. ASU members resolved that unless urgent action is taken at the government's scheduled meeting on August 28, 2025, they can no longer guarantee industrial harmony.
If nothing is done immediately, we may be compelled to shut down the Nigerian universities, which is, I guess, precisely what government wants. It's really unfortunate, like I earlier said. For God's sake, there are issues that the government is aware of. We've had a series of meetings. We've tabled our problems. You've listened to us. You've given us promises that are yet to be realistic. What do you want us to do? Nobody's interested in strike. Let me tell you the truth. We have walls here who are students. We have colleagues who are also students. Nobody is interested in shutting down the university. But what do you do? What do you do? It's simply the last resort. We can only fall back to strike when things are not done the way they should be done. And I tell you this, if government is committed, we can run an academic calendar uninterrupted. That is where we find ourselves. Government should sit up and do what is right.
For Nigerian students, members of ASU are pushing a just cause that deserves government urgent attention to avoid a strike that would disrupt academic activities.
They are fighting a just cause. They are talking about end academic allowances, and of course even the Bible says, talks about it. A worker deserves his or her wages, and of course I believe government should expedite actions to settle their scores with ASU so that we students we have a hitch-free academic session. You know, strike isn't a good thing. During my undergraduate days, a course that was supposed to last for 4 years, I ended up doing it for 6 years, not because I speed over, but because of incessant strike actions by ASU.
The truth about the matter is, I think this issue has been pending, has been lingering for a very long time, since 2009, and as a concerned citizen, it's good that we at least see it from the view of this, from the view of ASU. If they promised them something since then, I think the government should be able to have cleared that right from time.
If they go on strike, it will affect we as students, because we'll go down academically. We are supposed to graduate next year, but if they go on strike now, this set will not graduate this year. They will likely move to the next year, and we to bring us down too.
Efforts to reach the director overseeing the Federal Ministry of Education in Benue State were unsuccessful, as he was said to be in Abuja for an official engagement.
Now, still on ASU, the president of the union, Christopher Piuna, says the union had engaged the administration of President Bola Tinubu, but decried the response of the government, which he said was extremely slow. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, said it has given the federal government enough time to meet the demands of its members. The president of ASU, Christopher Piuna, said lecturers of public universities had made sacrifices and deserved their entitlement. Members of the union on Tuesday embarked on a nationwide protest to highlight what they described as the federal government's persistent neglect of its long-standing demands. They had on August 21, 2025 warned of a possible nationwide strike, accusing the government of failing to honor long-standing agreement on the revitalization and proper funding of Nigeria's public universities. The unresolved issues, according to ASU, including the renegotiation of the 2009 ASU FGN agreement, outstanding salary arrears, withheld promotions, and the welfare of retired lecturers. Now, the Taraba State Commander of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, VGN, has been thrown into mourning following the killings of 2 of its members by suspected kidnappers. The victims, Inspector Jamilu Usman, popularly known as Soji, and Inspector Ishaya Aziba, were attacked during an operation at Mararaban Kunin in Lau local government area of the state. Confirming the incident in an interview with newsmen in Jalingo, the public relations officer of the command, AC Suleiman Aliyu, said the deceased officers were on a joint operation with the police when they encountered the armed kidnappers. According to him, Inspector Ishaya Aziba was shot dead on the spot, while Inspector Jamilu Usman sustained gunshot wounds and was rushed to the Federal Medical Center, Jalingo, where he later died. While lamenting the lack of operational vehicles and motorcycles for effective response, the PRO appealed to the Taraba state government and well-meaning individuals to support the command in its effort to complement the police and other security agencies in combating crime across the states. Now, as insecurity continues to grip part of Nigeria, recent calls by the former Chief of Army Staff for a possible state of emergency have triggered mixed reactions among Nigerians. For many, the idea of a nationwide lockdown as a solution is unacceptable. They argue that such drastic measures would worsen economic hardship without addressing the root causes of insecurity. The report.
In Lagos, residents are speaking out strongly against the proposal for a nationwide lockdown as a means to tackle insecurity. For Blessing Ikwesidi, staying at home is not an option. She insists the government must find lasting solutions without further punishing struggling citizens.
How do we stay at home? How do we feed when we don't know work? If there's declared state of emergency, I don't think that will be possible for we to do here in Nigeria. I don't support that motion, please. Because I've been out since 5 o'clock and this is almost, I don't even know what time it is. This is almost 1 o'clock. I've been hustling, I've been out hustling to earn a living for my family. So I don't support that motion.
Others point to the leadership failures and the poor management of security funds. They argue that the problem is not the absence of funds, but their misuse, and call for greater accountability. According to them, what Nigeria's military needs are modern weapons, better training, and improved welfare, not ill-equipped soldiers sent into danger.
Our military, from news and from other media, we've seen soldiers complaining of lack of good ammunition to fight. The terrorists, the people disturbing, have better ammunition than our own military. How come? Who is sponsoring them? The money for our own ammunition and for buying equipment and for equipping our security apparatus, what is happening to those funds? So these are things we should be asking. Why should we send our military blind into dangerous zones without drone, and they are going and they are being ambushed? This is uncalled for. We have seen ways that other countries tackle insecurity. They use weaponized drones. Send them into, you don't have to put your soldiers on land. Send weaponized drones and combat issues from that. Then if they need a land support, you use land support. Not that you send our armies blindly into some spots, they get ambushed and they kill them, and we are not making progress.
I am telling you, if they really want to solve this insecurity, they will do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let them equip the soldiers, the forces more, and they should do the right thing. They know the right thing to do. If they kidnapped any governor now, I assure you the next 48 hours, they will rescue that governor. So they know what they are doing.
For many Nigerians, declaring a state of emergency is not the answer, but merely a distraction from the real issue, a failing security architecture. As frustration grows, citizens are calling on government to prioritize effective strategy and sustainable reform that will restore peace without worsening their hardship.
And the Office of the National Security Advisor has handed over 128 kidnapped victims rescued from bandit camps in Kauran-Namo, the local government area of Zamfara State, to their respective families. Briefing journalists on Tuesday in Abuja, the National Coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamulaka, said the victims were freed during coordinated security operations carried out in 2 phases earlier in August. The report.
While presenting the victims to the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, Lucas said the first group of victims, who were 42 in number and comprising 14 males, 27 females, and a toddler, were rescued on August 14th. According to him, the second group, comprising 88 individuals made up of 34 males and 54 females, was freed on August 19th.
When they were rescued, they have been kept under the Office of National Security Advisor for some psychological, medical, and rehabilitation. Today, we are ready to hand them over to the state.
On the spot, the National Security Advisor commended security agencies for the safe rescue of kidnapped victims.
This work will continue. There will be no respite in our operations. There will be no safe haven for those who terrorize our citizens. We will hunt them, we will find them, and we will bring them to justice.
They also vowed the federal government's determination to track the perpetrators of kidnappings.
This battle is for all of us. The darkness is receding. We have always employed both kinetic and non-kinetic measures to address these issues. And this balanced approach will continue to guide us.
Reports say one of the rescued child died due to illness, while a premature baby delivered during the rescue operation was being incubated in a medical facility.
Now, the Plateau State Police Command has arrested suspected kidnappers and robbers terrorizing the community market in Bassa local government area of Plateau State. State Commissioner of Police Emmanuel Adeshina disclosed this while parading the suspect at the headquarters of the command in Jos on Tuesday. The commissioner said the arrest followed intelligence gathering by personnel of the command, adding that all the suspects have confessed to their crimes.
A report was received on the 13th of this month about the activities of the three suspects. They operated in Binshin, that is in Bassa local government. After the market day, they trained some of the marketers, some of the traders. They robbed them and collected and injured some and collected a total sum of 1,918,000 naira. That is the proceeds of what those traders sold on that market day.
Now, Governor Umar Dikoreda of Katsina on Wednesday paid a condolence visit to the Mantau community in Malumfashi local government area, where bandits had attacked a mosque, killing 32 worshippers and abducting several others. The governor, who was on medical leave, directed the acting governor Farouk Lawal Jobi to send a high-powered delegation to commiserate with the bereaved families and community. During the visit, Governor Redda promised to build roads and other social amenities that will improve the community's infrastructure and living standards. However, his convoy faced significant challenges on the way to the community due to the deplorable state of the road. Some of the vehicles in his entourage got stuck in the mud, highlighting the urgent need for road construction. Meanwhile, the Katsina state government says it has been working to strengthen security operations in the state, including the establishment of a joint security surveillance center and the engagement of over 10,000 community members through ward and local government security committees. Now, the Lagos State Police Command restored law and order in Balogun Market after a public fight between hoodlums and miscreants resulted in the death of one person. According to the police, the incident was not a tribal clash, but rather a fight between miscreants. One person, identified as Ebuka Adindu, has been arrested and is currently receiving treatment for injuries sustained during the fight. The police have assured the public that normalcy has been restored and that marketers and residents can go about their businesses without fear or apprehension. The Lagos State Police Command has reiterated its commitment to maintaining peace and order in the state and has urged residents to remain law-abiding and cooperate with the police. The Commissioner of Police, CP Olohundare Jimo has called on residents not to spread fear in the minds of public, as Lagos is generally a peaceful state. The police have promised to conclude their investigations into both incidents and bring those responsible to justice. The police have also detained 4 policemen who were brought in from outside Lagos State by a wanted suspect, Abiodun Ariori, for orderly broom trial for going on illegal duty. Now, a 25-year-old laborer has reportedly died after a foundation wall collapsed at an excavation site in Abuja. The incident occurred at the premises of Radio House Area 8 Garki, according to a statement issued by Head of Public Affairs Emergency Management Department, FEMD, FCT chapter in Kichi Isa. The statement indicates that 2 workers were trapped after the wall gave way while they were excavating about 7 feet underground in the building. It noted that while one was rescued alive, the other person was fatally injured and later died. Reacting to the tragedy, the Acting Director General of the FEMD, Abdulrahman Muhammad, called for a strict adherence to safety regulations at construction sites to avoid similar unfortunate incidents. Now, as the nation's economic downturn continues to bite hard, it is no longer unusual to see young Nigerians juggling multiple jobs just to survive, from holding down a 9 to 5 in the corporate world to offering services online and even venturing into buying and selling. Many youth are finding creative ways to stay afloat. Yet despite this effort, financial stability still feels out of reach for most, the reports.
From corporate jobs to digital services and small-scale trading, the average Nigerian youth now engages in more than one business just to make ends meet.
Well, juggle multiple business is first for survivor and secondly for sustainable impact. For survivor is having a source of income to fuel my dreams. And then for sustainable impact is the cause of looking at how my work impact life. So, and looking at the sustainability of my work. That's why I juggle multiple jobs.
With the current condition, all things around, you have to be sure of what you have to take care of yourself. So you have to find a way around it. If one is not making it, giving you all you want, you have to. If it's more flexible, you venture into something else. So the reason why I choose to do a couple of things is because most of the things I do are flexible things and mostly remotely. So it gives me a flexibility to do other things. So that is why I have to combine it, and mostly is to have a good and comfortable life.
However, despite their resilience, many say their earnings still fall short of keeping up with the rising cost of living. One of such Nigerian, Opayemi Salako, acknowledges the strength and determination of youth who continue to strive not only for their own survival, but also to make meaningful impact in the society.
The Nigerian youth are one of the most resilient, creative, awesome youths around the globe, because we create opportunity out of problem in different industry across tech, entertainment, agriculture, science and technology. So being a Nigerian youth is it calls for a resilient is an element of hope, because we believe in the future of the Nigerian dream.
I've gotten to understand that most Nigerian youth, they juggle between jobs just to make ends meet. And my advice to them is that whatever it takes for them to make ends meet, I advise them to go for it, because you know these days things are very expensive, and your basic 9 to 5 job, the salary they receive cannot really sustain all these needs, all their essentials. So whatever it takes for them to make to earn a living, to be able to afford whatsoever their basic needs are, please, they should go ahead and do it.
Still, with hope alive and the government working in sync with young people, the Nigerian youth remains vibrant, resourceful and ready to make significant contributions to national growth if given the opportunity. Rashida Toyowale reporting for Trust TV News.
Now, according to the World Food Programme, more than 30 million Nigerians face acute food insecurity, with 37% surviving below the poverty line. Of this number, children are the most hit, with malnutrition killing dozens of them in northern Nigeria. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail has more.
Nigeria's cost of living crisis has dominated headlines since May 29, 2023, when the federal government removed fuel subsidies. The ripple effect have been severe. Transportation costs surged almost overnight, driving up food prices across markets. Combined with the depreciation of the naira, insecurity in farming communities, and weak economic growth, millions of Nigerians are now trapped in a cycle of poverty and hunger. The World Bank estimates that 129 million Nigerians, 56% of the population, were living in poverty as of 2024. The World Food Programme paints an equally grim picture. More than 30 million Nigerians face acute food insecurity, with 37% surviving below the poverty line. For many families, this means living on less than $1 a day, struggling to afford even a single meal. Hunger is hitting children the hardest. UNICEF reports that Nigeria has a second highest number of stunted children globally, with 32% of children under 5 affected. Stunting caused by chronic malnutrition has long-term effect on physical growth, cognitive development, and future productivity. Around 2 million children are currently suffering from severe acute malnutrition. Tragically, Doctors Without Borders recorded 652 child deaths from malnutrition in Katsina State in 2025. Experts say the crisis is fueled by more than just rising food prices, frequent disease outbreaks, poor access to primary health care, weak social protection systems, and escalating violence in rural areas have worsened the situation. Farmers in the northwest and north central often abandon their lands due to insecurity, reducing local food production and pushing prices further out of reach for the poor. For authorities, the task is twofold: respond to the urgent humanitarian crisis while also building resilience against future shocks. Without coordinated action, Nigeria risks losing a generation of children to hunger and malnutrition. What do you think should be prioritized? Emergency food and save lives now, or structural reforms to address poverty and hunger in the long run?
Now, the House of Representatives Committee on the Prospects and Challenges of the Baru Port project in Niger State is partnering with Media Trust Group to push for its realization. The pledge came during a courtesy visit by the committee leadership to the management of the Pan-African Media Company in Abuja. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Conceived in the early 70s by the colonial administration to meet inland transport needs, the multi-billion naira Baru Port Rehabilitation and Expansion Project, commissioned under the Buhari administration in 2019, is still not fully operational. The setback is tied to poor funding, weak coordination, and lack of supporting infrastructure.
Unfortunately, because of this lack of synergy from the onset among the critical stakeholders, there are other very, very important adjoining infrastructures that are still very much outstanding. One is the capital dredging of the river Niger. Because of lack of use over time, you know, the issues of siltation and what have you are setting that you require you need to dredge the wall of the inland waterways for you to be able to actually utilize it. So we saw that, and from there we were also shown the rail corridor, as it were. There's no rail connectivity between Baru and Mina as we had in time past, you know. So, but contracts have been awarded. Unfortunately, for this singular reason of lack of fund, the contractor has not been able to make much progress.
Responding to calls for stronger partnerships to revive the project, the Group Chief Operating Officer, Malam Ahmed Shekarau, pledged strategic collaboration. He described the port are significant to both the regional and national economy.
Our catchment area is northern Nigeria, and we are, very much aware of the challenges, of unemployment across the entirety of the country. But we feel more for the people of northern Nigeria because 80% of our audience are actually based here in the north. So it's really going to be something that will be of significant boost to the people of this particular region and, of course, like you said, to the entire country.
The committee plans a stakeholder engagement to explore private partnership models that could push the project forward. Yet doubts remain over the political will to prioritize maritime projects such as the Ajaokuta Steel Mill, dry inland ports, and the AKK pipeline. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Stakeholders decry negative impact of fake drugs on health. More news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. Unijust students fear academic disruption as lecturers push for strike. And cost of living crisis forces young Nigerians to juggle multiple jobs to survive. Now moving on to more stories, PDP Reps caucus slams Tinubu over worsening insecurity hardship. The People's Democratic Party PDP caucus in the House of Representatives has raised serious concerns over the state of the nation under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's leadership. At a strongly worded press conference in Abuja, the lawmakers accused the administration of neglecting Nigerians and ignoring critical issues. The reports.
At an earlier emergency meeting in Abuja, members of the PDP caucus expressed dissatisfaction with the country's situation, blaming President Tinubu's APC-led government for worsening hardship and insecurity. The caucus also reaffirmed its support for Ambassador Umar Elia Damagum, who was recently confirmed as the PDP national chairman after serving in acting capacity. In addition, they urged President Tinubu to respect judicial rulings on local government elections in Osun State.
To ask the federal government to release, obey valid court judgments leading to validity or validating the local government elections that were held in Osun State. Osun State is led by a PDP governor, a successful government and governor who has proved that he's in touch with his people and is delivering dividends of democracy to the people of Osun State. This is anti-democratic, and as a party caucus in the House of Reps, who are lawmakers, we insist that the right thing be done, due process be complied with.
The lawmakers warned that the growing insecurity in states such as Imo, Katsina, Plateau, Benue, Zamfara, and Borno is proof that the federal government has lost control. They further decried a rise in economic hardship, alleging that Nigerians are being pushed to the brink while the president continues to embark on foreign trips.
This government has failed Nigerians. The APC government, for the past 12 years, 10 years that have been in power, has failed Nigerians. And Nigerians have come to know that PDP is the only party that can bring succor to them. Not only kidneys, there's a lot of hardship in this country. And Nigerians are groaning in their pains daily. People are committing suicide because the government is not paying attention to them.
The PDP caucus vowed to sustain pressure on the Tinubu administration through legislative interventions and public advocacy. Meanwhile, the presidency is yet to respond to the allegations.
Now, a coalition of civil society groups has condemned the recent arrest of Palestinian community leader Ramzi Abu Ibrahim in Nigeria. The organization staged a protest in Abuja, alleging that Nigerian security forces abducted him in a manner that violates due process as well as globally recognized principles of fundamental human rights conventions, which Nigeria is a signatory. Habiba Tajayi reports.
The protest drew together concerned stakeholders speaking with one voice. They warned that Nigeria cannot afford to be dragged into the Middle East crisis or risk being used as a proxy in the long-standing Israel-Palestine conflict. Addressing journalists, Kunle Ajayi, the General Secretary of the United Action for Democracy, linked Abu Ibrahim's arrest to his activism, particularly against the backdrop of the recent security and intelligence pact signed between Nigeria and the State of Israel. He noted that Nigeria is already grappling with fragile economy, worsening insecurity, farmer-elder clashes, and rising social vices.
We advocate for the rights of Palestinians, and this is not a crime.
Yes.
2, Nigeria must not allow itself to become a tool of external powers in silencing dissent.
Yes.
3, the detention of Abu Ibrahim Abdul Fattah and other Palestinian community leaders is an assault on freedom of expression, association and human rights, as is enshrined in Section 2 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution. 4, we call for the solution to all of the issues in Israel-Palestine, which is the two-nation state, to the Middle East dilemma of double face of same coins of our collective humanity.
The coalition further called on federal government to review and reconsider any agreements with Israel that may compromise Nigerian sovereignty or undermine the democratic rights of residents.
We also demand that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should immediately and unconditionally release Ramzi Abu Ibrahim Abdul Fattah and other detained Palestinian community leaders. In this global war, we should take the stand of peace. We should respect the rights of Palestinians in Nigeria, ensuring they are not subjected to harassment, humiliation, or political repression.
They stressed that Nigeria must stand on the side of justice and ensure its institutions are not used to silence voices advocating for freedom, dignity, and peace in Palestine. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria, ACPN, says nearly 50% of medicines in circulation are fake or substandard. In Nigeria, these counterfeit drugs continue to masquerade as legitimate medicines, wreaking havoc on people's health and lives. In this report, Trust TV speaks with residents of the FCT about the dangers posed by fake drugs and their calls for urgent government action. The reports.
The fight against fake and substandard drugs remains a constant battle in Nigeria. According to the ACPN, more than half of medicines in circulation are fake. Some residents of the FCT who spoke to Trust TV expressed a deep concern over the harm caused by counterfeit medicines. They stressed that urgent and decisive government intervention is needed to protect the lives of citizens.
The issue of fake drugs in Nigeria, everybody knows that there are fake drugs, but I don't think the government is really doing well to curb the issue. I don't think so. There are still so many fake drugs out there. People are selling and people are buying. But the government, we've not seen anywhere where maybe security officials are there to arrest those people. Even you go to the pharmacies now, they still have some fake drugs. On the roadside here, you see people selling drugs inside a basket on the roadside. So all those things, most of them are fake and expired. What I think is the government should really send the security officials after them, especially the NAFDA. They should ensure that all these ones are eradicated, especially the roadside and some pharmacies. When you go inside some pharmacies, you see fake drugs and expired drugs.
Yes, I do believe the government is making effort to stop the circulation of fake drugs. We do have built-up agencies that monitor the coming in and going out of drugs in the country. And personally, we do advise people not to purchase from sources they don't know. So there's also the fact that rules have been put on ground to make sure that anyone who is caught is punished. So I do believe the government is making enough efforts.
The nature of the country we are in.
even though government is making its efforts, some people will still find their way to survive in using fake drugs.
Beyond the personal dangers to patients, the trade in fake drugs robs governments and companies of revenues, fuels corruption and crime, damages reputations, and undermines public trust in the health system. Experts warn that fake medicines cause treatment failures, expose patients to harmful substances, and can lead to serious illness or death. Economically, they waste family income, reduce pharmaceutical company profits, and increase government spending on healthcare. Hence, the need for the menace to be addressed. Hawa Bashir, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, residents of Aujara, Gunka, and Kale villages in Jahul local government area of Jigawa State have highlighted the positive impact of primary healthcare centers established in their communities, saying life has become easier as they can now access healthcare with ease. They stated this when the Deputy Governor Aminu Usman paid an inspection visit to the facilities. During the visit, records showed that Aujara Primary Healthcare Center attends to more than 800 patients monthly, while Gunka and Kale serve around 500 patients each. On bed registration, Aujara leads with 400 beds recorded every month, followed by Gunka with about 85 to 92, and Kale with nearly 80. Deputy Governor Aminu Usman, who also chairs the State Committee on Primary Health Care, commended the level of service provided at the centers. He explained that the visit was aimed at assessing firsthand how government investment in the health sector are improving community well-being.
I'm here to make sure that what I came for, to inspect the place, I will first of all inspect and see how the facilities of these areas and the staff of these areas and the people that are committed of coming to the primary health care unit. So Alhamdulillah, I have from Aujara, where we start, I have gone around all the facilities, right from the OPD, the registry, the ward, women wards, male wards, laboratories, and other facilities. I'm sure the people within that area, they have seen what the government of this present administration are doing in ensuring that the health issue within our locality is something that our government is dealing with.
Now, the Adamawa State government is intensifying effort to engage local traders on improving the business environment and securing exporter certifications to boost the participation of local enterprises in the global market. At a recent stakeholders meeting convened by the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Commissioner Ishaya Dabari highlighted that Adamawa is endowed with products that hold strong export potential. He, however, pointed out that limited knowledge and access to the processes required for exporter certification remain major obstacles. Commissioner Dabari reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting local businesses to become competitive players internationally. The initiative is being implemented in collaboration with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms.
This government is different from the previous government. It's a very responsive government. Before we embark on this awareness or enlightenment program, of course, we have obtained approval on the don'ts, and all the details that are required. And already we are prepared for any support that any trader or businessman that want to venture into export business will receive from the government. There are, we collaborate with SABA, State Action on Business Reform, and then the National Nigerian Export Promotion Council. We have seen the requirements that are necessary for an individual to go into export business or group.
We want to work closely with the exporters to ensure that they don't embark so much on the informal trade, which is a very big problem. They should formalize their business and trade officially by having an export certificate. And on that note too, we also encourage other certification bodies like Standard Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC and the rest to produce a situation where they will be able to offer these traders and SMEs their own certification.
And now in business, Nigeria, South Africa and Egypt have emerged as China's top trade destinations, with exports jumping by 25% year-on-year to reach $122 billion so far in 2025. A report by Bloomberg said Africa's demand for Chinese products surged this year, already surpassing the continent's entire 2020 trade volume, with China on course to top $200 billion for the first time. Construction machinery ranked among China's fastest growing exports to Africa in the first 7 months of 2025, surging 63% year-on-year. According to Bloomberg, shipment of passenger cars more than doubled, while steel product exports rose in high double digits. African nations have also stepped up imports of Chinese solar panels, which climbed 60% in the 12 months through June, according to climate think tank Ember. On the other hand, however, Africa's share of China's total export is still meager at about 6%, roughly half of level for the United States. Now, Nigeria's rising debt profile is drawing fresh scrutiny as external debt hit $43 billion, while officials argue that borrowing is needed to fund infrastructure and plug budget gaps. Analysts warn of a looming debt trap. In this explainer, Abdullahi Ahmed takes a look at the up and downside of the argument and what it means for Nigerians.
According to the Debt Management Office, Nigeria's external debt now stands at $43 billion, spread across the population estimated at over 226 million. That's about $190 for every Nigerian, from newborns to the elderly. It is a big figure, but the real story lies in who we owe, why we borrowed, and whether it is a path to growth or a slide into a debt trap. So, here's the breakdown. The World Bank tops the list with $17.3 billion. These loans fund reforms, cash transfers, and inflation relief measures. The Africa Development Bank follows with $3.2 billion, mostly for infrastructure. From the IMF, Nigeria has $1.25 billion drawn during tough fiscal moments. Bilateral partners come next. China's Exim Bank holds nearly $5 billion, largely tied to rail and power projects. France, Germany, Japan, and India add smaller credits, together under $1 billion. On the commercial side, Nigeria owes $15.1 billion in euro bonds, money borrowed from the open market to plug budget holes and roll over old debt. Now, there are also syndicated loans and bank facilities worth a few $100 million. So, why do we continue to borrow? The official line is clear: financing infrastructure, stabilizing the Nigerian economy, and supporting social programs. But the reliance on euro bonds and budget support loans tells another story. Nigeria is borrowing not just to grow, but to survive day-to-day spending gaps. So here's a timeline for repayments, because they do vary. Multilateral loans run long, up to 20 years at low interest rates. Bilateral loans are mid-term, often 5 to 10 years. Eurobonds are the toughest because they carry market rates and lump sum repayments at maturity. Servicing these debts already takes up a heavy slice of government revenue. Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio after a recent rebasing sits at about 40%, which is manageable compared to Nigeria's peers. But the strain is real. When more money goes to creditors than to schools, hospitals, or roads, debt stops being a tool for growth. Across Africa, the pattern is familiar. Ghana defaulted on its Eurobonds. Zambia had to restructure. Senegal's debt now hovers near 100% to its GDP. By contrast, Rwanda borrowed smart, using Eurobond proceeds to build infrastructure that fuels growth and rolling over bonds with credibility. Nigeria stands somewhere in between, not in free fall, but walking just a tightrope. Now, the National Assembly recently approved President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's comprehensive borrowing plan for 2025 to 2026. This includes new external loans worth $21.5 billion and 2.2 billion euros and 15 billion Japanese yen, plus a 65 million euros grant. Lawmakers also cleared a new $2 billion foreign currency issuance program in the domestic market. That's another $9 per Nigerian, tapping from foreign currency inside the country for infrastructure projects. So, the current borrowing has bought time and kept the government running. But without strong investment in productive sectors, experts say debt will only continue to pile up. The real test is whether today's loans create tomorrow's jobs, power supply and growth, or tomorrow's crisis. For now, Nigeria is doubling down on borrowing. Today, your share is $190. With these new approvals, you can expect it to rise above $300 per head. The only question is whether that money buys lasting development or leaves every Nigerian with a heavier bill and little to show for it.
Now, away from Nigeria, a new investigative report has revealed growing resentment within Mali's military and government over the presence and conduct of Russian mercenaries, notably the Wagner Group and its successor, Africa Corps. After Mali's military took control through coup in 2020 and 2021 and expelled French and UN forces, Wagner was hired to assist in the fight against Islamist insurgents. However, the mercenaries frequently operated outside the military chain of command, sometimes causing security lapses and the loss of equipment and personnel. Malian soldiers reportedly resent the differential treatment given to the Russian, including access to scarce resources like medical evacuations and fuel. The report also found that despite Wagner's involvement, no mining concession or profitable businesses ventures were secured for the group, with President Assimi Goïta reportedly blocking right organizations have accused Wagner of atrocities against civilians during their operations alongside Malian forces. Now for sport updates, let's join Joseph Peter.
National Sport Commission has applauded Didi Onome Omolola for winning gold in the women 53 kg at the ongoing Commonwealth Weightlifting Championship in Ahmedabad, India today. This is coming after Ruth Yinyong Asuko won silver in the 48 kg junior women category on Monday. NSC Chairman Malan Shehu Diko believes that with Onome's golden leaf, the floodgate of medals from Team Nigeria has been opened as Commonwealth Senior, Junior and Youth Weightlifting Championship is holding in India from August 20 to 30th. In athletics, the stage is set for a thrilling display of youthful talent in Asaba, Delta State, with an impressive 6,382 participants confirmed as the National Youth Games scheduled from August 29 to September 6, 2025 is set to kick off. The event will feature over 30 sport disciplines including athletics, swimming, football, and traditional Nigerian games. Entries finalized so far include 4,961 athletes, 635 coaches, 386 team officials, and 400 state delegates. A figure which highlights the growing scale and importance of the games, which continue to serve as a platform for nurturing young sporting talent and fostering unity across Nigeria. Around 37 sporting events will be contested at this year's games, ensuring a widespread display of skill, competition, and teamwork across multiple disciplines. The defending champions, Team Delta, will be aiming to retain their crown but will face strong competition from rivals contingents determined to claim this year's honors. The National Sport Commission (NSC) stated that the 9th National Youth Games is a celebration of talent, determination, and national unity as the country witnessed the stars of the future compete for glory in 9 days of thrilling action. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And with that, we've come to the end of the News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. My name is Idris Daye Bature. Thanking you for being with us. Good night.